Hi, I'm Kara Thorpe, founder of Yellow Parachute Learning Partners and Yellow Parachute Academy, where great minds don't think alike. And at Yellow Parachute Learning Partners and the Academy, we provide your student with learning coaches who see who your student is as a learner and help the student individually figure out how to learn best, how to stay motivated, and how to show what he or she knows. The problem right now that we're facing is that we know so much about how the brain works due to technological advancements. We can watch neural pathways being made. We can watch dendrites growing to see how and under what conditions the brain learns best, but education as a very large institution hasn't caught up yet. And so we see this big gap between what our learners need and what our learners are getting. But I do think there's a solution. When we can teach our learners what they need, then they can be the ones who ask for it. They can be the ones to advocate, and they can be the ones to really take control over their learning. That's our goal at Yellow Parachute Learning Partners and at the Academy, is to give each of our students the ability to understand himself or herself as a learner and own that unique title in relationship to him or herself, and then be able to make choices accordingly. We want middle schoolers who are learning how to take notes and prioritize and manage their time according to what works best for each individual student. And then we want high school students who are able to make extracurricular and sport and club and activity choices based on the vision that they have in mind for the future. Now, these things might happen separate from the student knowing exactly what he or she wants to do, but when a student has knowledge and awareness of his own core values and passions and a why inside that helps him perform at best, then each step they take is progress toward that goal, regardless of whether there's failure or success. So in other words, there is no failure. I want to talk a little bit about shame in relationship to learning. Shame is a word that Brene Brown has made common in her social research. And if you don't know about Brene Brown's research yet, I highly encourage you to read her books, to watch her TED Talks. It's incredibly powerful to understand the hold that shame can have over us, and then how we can really own our stories is the language that she uses and be free from that shame. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of shame around school and learning for many students because traditionally, the teacher has taught at the front of the classroom and the students have been asked to follow along, and that's how we've expected learning to happen. And now there have been so many advancements with personalized learning that we've made valiant efforts on the parts of teachers and administrators and researchers across the country and across the globe to make this change. However, it doesn't change the fact that when the student feels that he or she is expected to naturally get the learning or understand an assignment or be able to study, and that's not happening, the student questions his ability. So the scenario happens where it's either like, I'm bad or you're bad. So either the teacher's bad or the student's bad. And you've seen how that can go either way, right? Some of our students internalize that shame and they think, there must be something wrong with me. I'll never be able to learn. I'll take the choice as the class clown rather than the smart, the kid who's contributing, because that's more my role, that's easier. Or you've seen students externalize the shame and get in trouble and just say, well, school isn't for me. I just don't belong there, and kind of kick themselves out of that environment in a way. Those are both situations we really want to avoid. And this can be done. This can be done with careful understanding and teaching for each student to learn how he or she works best and learns best. And then that shame doesn't happen because we understand that learning is reciprocal between student and teacher, and work and questioning and practicing and guidance happens along the way. So we think of ourselves as learning coaches at Yellow Parachute Learning Partners because we really value that coaching process, that how to learn coaching process goes along with the tutoring. When your student learns math from a Yellow Parachute math coach, there's much emphasis also placed on not just the lesson at hand, but habits of mind and learning habits that can create success in the classroom and beyond. And we feel this is really important, if not absolutely essential, to our 21st century learners' experience because we're preparing them for jobs that don't even exist yet. So the most important things our kids can know to do are how to learn, how to stay motivated to work with the information, and then how to show what they know. You know, they're not going to need to necessarily memorize anything. The information that they need to do their jobs will probably be at their fingertips, ready to look up, but it's the application of that learning and the problem solving that's going to be so very important. So this creativity, this curiosity, this openness to learning is what we can really foster as learning coaches and as adults, and that inner understanding of why, what makes me excited about life. And that's why I'm bringing that to moms first, because I just see the need that we are doing so many things, especially in the past year with our COVID epidemic. We need a revitalization, we need renewal, and we kind of need to come back to really figure out who we are. We have an idea of what's most important, and I think as moms, when we can really capture that and articulate that and live that out for ourselves, then we show that to our children. And that's the teamwork that I think we can do as parents and as families. Now that we've been through some real reflection and examination of how to do hard things over the past few years. And then we look at the power of relationships. The power of relationships is important now more than ever. We've seen how kids need to be in front of their teachers. They need to be working in person. They need to have a conversation. And if not in person, virtual still works, but there needs to be one-on-one contact and interaction rather than sitting in a large group, because learning is that organic process that happens. Like I said, it's reciprocal. And so you look at the feedback between teacher and learner in order for the learner's experience to push them in the direction of the learning.